Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about relative extrema. So extrema is just the plural. It was the way we would say multiple extremes. We don't say extremes, we say extrema. So multiple extreme values. And when you think about like extreme temperatures, those are extremely high or low temperature. So extreme values on a function are going to be extremely high or low points. Now, key word here is this word relative. So relative, and another way you might see this written would be local. So relative or local to the interval we are considering. So the piece of the function we are considering. So as you can see, this function goes to the left and the right forever. It looks like it goes up in both of those directions, off to the left and right. So it's increasing forever. So if we said, what is the absolute max or min of this function? Well, because this goes up forever, there is no absolute maximum. So we're saying relative because it's relative to the region we are considering, or local. Now, you won't hear the word absolute much more in this class, but there is a difference between relative and absolute extrema when you get to calculus. And relative max and min values are pretty easy for us to understand. Minimums occur at low points or valleys. We have two minimums at C sub 1 and C sub 3. And then that maximum value is occurring over here at C sub 2. So we have one relative max, even though that max doesn't appear to be the highest point, it's relatively high compared to all of the other points around it. All right, and even though C sub 1 appears to be the lowest point here, C sub 3 is also relatively low. So when we talk about relative maximum or min values, the relative max or min, it is y and it occurs at x. So we oftentimes say the max or min is y, and that max or min occurs at the x value. So again, just like with intervals of increasing, decreasing, and constant, we are describing the behavior of y using x. Okay, so we're always going to say the max or the min is the y value. And then if I say, well, where does the max or min occur? You're going to give me an x value for that. Now I have pulled in here our formal definition. And all this says is that there exists some y value for maximum on the interval such that that y value is greater than every other y value. And then for the relative minimum, there exists some output at a given point C, C just being a number we've plugged into the function. So for a minimum, there's some y value, f of C, which is less than every other function value on that interval you're considering. All right, let's look at an example. In this example, we're asked to state the relative extrema. That means we need to state the relative maximum and the relative minimum. It should be fairly easy for us to recognize that we have a maximum at this peak here. The maximum is occurring at the ordered pair 2, 3. And that the minimum is occurring in this valley here at the ordered pair 5, negative 2. Now, if we were to state this as an answer, we would state the relative max. Now remember, the relative max is the y value, so it is 3 at x equals 2. And for the min, we'll state that the relative min is also that y value. So in this case, that would be negative 2, and that occurs at x equals 5. And that's as easy or as basic, I guess, as understanding a maximum and a minimum is. All right, just the one main thing I want to make sure that you guys all remember is that the max or the min is the y value, and it occurs at some x equals. All right, that's it for this video. Please feel free to email me if you have any questions.